This is the Shine On You Crazy Daisy podcast, and I'm your host, Trudy Simmons from the Daisy Chain Group, providing platforms and opportunities for businesswomen to be seen and heard. This platform is for the women entrepreneurs that want to hear the real stories of what it takes to be yourself and run a business with all the different hats that you might have to wear. Come and join the Shine On You Crazy Daisy membership, offering online networking, co-working, collaboration and monthly masterclasses for you to grow your knowledge. Go to thedaisychaingroup.com for more information. These are the platforms to hear and share the stories of the tenacious, the rebellious, and the resilient women that are working towards the future that they build for themselves and their families. Hello and welcome to the Shine On You Crazy Daisy podcast. I am your host, Trudy Simmons, and today I am thrilled and excited to introduce you to Elyse Burns-Hill from SGW Accountancy. Elyse, thank you so much for being involved in the book and the podcast. Please tell us about your business.
Morning. Thank you very much to you as well. About me, I run an accountancy firm. It's based in Hampshire, but we work with people all over the UK, primarily working with service-based business, but we also have hospitality, we have construction, all sorts of businesses, really. Exciting.
I love people in accountancy. You just never know what you're going to get. And this is the brilliant thing, is you start off your chapter with the fact that you went to university to do zoology. How did you go from zoology to accountancy?
Well, the long story starts when I was about 5.
Go on.
I always wanted to be a vet. And I think that was from the age of 4 or 5. I wanted to work with animals, wanted to be a vet. And then I got to my GCSEs. I was always reasonably good at school, but I didn't try too hard. So I sort of floated by. But to get into veterinary school, you have to have straight A's. Straight A's at GCSEs, straight A's at A-level, all the extracurricular stuff as well. And I did my GCSEs and didn't get straight A's. Didn't do too badly, but it wasn't straight A's. So at that point, I felt like I fell off a cliff. I was like, well, that's my veterinary dream gone. What do I do? And I really didn't have any idea. And then my mum suggested I do zoology because it's still kind of animal focused. If I did well there, then maybe there'd be opportunity to go into veterinary school after that, after I'd proved myself at university. But I went to university, didn't really like it. I don't think university was actually the right answer for me. I did it because it was expected of me. So I just went with it. So it did probably take me another 4 or 5 years, I think, after that, before I finally decided on accountancy. After that, I sort of floated a bit. I finished university. I worked for my parents' company for a bit. I worked in an Apple shop for a bit, doing a little bit of sales, which surprisingly I turned out to be quite good at. I'd always thought up to that point I would be rubbish in sales, but because I was quite passionate about the Apple computers and the Apple devices, it was really easy to sell, which it was a huge realization for me. And then I decided that I was going to join the Royal Navy, which was quite a change to anything I'd done before, but I'd done cadets when I was at school, and I thought that might be a direction that I want to go. I've always wanted to fly a helicopter, so I thought, right, helicopter pilot in the Navy, right, let's go for it. And I did all the aptitude testing, and I turned out to score quite highly for the observer role, not so well for the helicopter pilot. So they advised me to go down the observer route, and the observer route, or as an observer, you do the weapon systems and the navigation. Navigation, fine, I'm always happy with navigation. But being the one that presses the button that potentially kills women and children, I couldn't reconcile that. I could deal with the rest of the idea of being in the military, but being the one that presses the button, I couldn't do that. So I thought, well, maybe this is not the answer for me. So I was living in Malta at the time, and I was just sat on the balcony, and I thought, well, okay, what do I want to do? And it came to me that I should do accountancy. My dad had always said that I should do accountancy, so he obviously saw it way before I did.
Yeah.
But who wants to be a boring accountant sat behind a desk? Why would I want to do that? The Navy option sounded far more interesting. But I think I had the realization at that point that maybe I could do some good. Maybe it didn't have to be boring. So that's when I started down that route.
And what you said in the book was that you followed your intuition in hearing the fact that accountancy was the next thing to do. And you've made some very big decisions on your intuition. How do you balance your practical business brain with intuition? And does intuition always win?
It does when I'm listening for it.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to balancing the two, I suppose I see intuition as being when you come out of your head.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you say about listening to your heart, or when you've got a gut instinct about something, that is all your intuition. So you've come out of your head and you're listening to your body, your feelings about things. It's listening to sort of life's energies on a different level. And when you've got a big decision to make, actually, that is the place that you want to be. You can sit there and write all your lists about which option you should go for, and use your brain for that. But ultimately, you're going to go with the one that makes you feel good. So I have always listened to my intuition when I'm quiet enough to hear it. And I think that day when I was sat on the balcony drinking my tea, I wasn't trying to think of it. I wasn't trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
I was just sitting there enjoying the view. We lived in a little apartment over the marina, so I was watching all the boats bob around, and it was just nice, and I was just being. And then it came to me, and I was just like, it was like a realization. It was like a moment of connection.
But you can feel it, can't you?
Yes.
It hits. Yeah. It's like, that's what I was supposed to be hearing.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think what you described well in the chapter is when you don't listen to your intuition, what happens?
Everything goes to pot.
Oh, really?
Yes. I have, since taking over SGW a couple of years ago, I started out very, very strongly. I had my vision. I knew what I was aiming for, and I was just going for it all out. But probably the last year, I have been struggling more. And I made the realization within the last couple of months that I'd stopped listening to my intuition. I'd stopped looking after my body. I'd stopped looking after my mind. I'd stopped all of that. It was all about just plugging away, getting through the next day and the next day and the next day.
Yeah.
And there'd been this complete disconnect. And literally over the last few months, and I've been really working on myself. My mantra has been self-care. It's all been about looking after myself and listening to myself again. And finally, things are starting to get back on the right track. Yeah. I'm not feeling quite so stressed. I'm not feeling like, or questioning whether I'm doing the right thing. Because that's the other thing. When I first took over SGW, I was just like, this is the exact thing that I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah. I felt it. There was a real good connection there. But over the last few years, or the last year, I've just been, every so often it would pop up and go, am I doing the right thing? I really don't know anymore. And it's just like the massive disconnect with everything. I was going through the motions, getting through each day.
And it's the questions that you ask yourself around that, because as soon as we start asking ourselves, am I doing the right thing? It's the next question that can make or break. It can push you to burn out and break down, or things need to change. This is what's going to change. And if we don't start asking those questions, it's when we feel that utter internal frustration and stuckedness, as I call it, when you just don't know, you think you don't know what to do, when actually you're not listening.
Yeah, definitely.
I love these conversations. What has given you your drive for success to this point?
I can't think back what it was before I had children. I think I always just wanted to do well. There was sort of an innate motivation to just do well, possibly to make my parents happy, to make my family happy that I was doing well. It wasn't necessarily for myself, it was for outward perception, I think. But I suppose when that motivation turned inwards was when I became a mum. I had my two children, my two daughters, and everything has become about making sure that I can create the best future for them, that we are able to go away on holidays and that they can explore the world and learn new things and have new experiences. And I think the other driving factor is my other half. He's a little bit older than me, so he became a dad later in life. And so at some point he's going to want to retire, but he also wants to be there for the girls now. So if I am able to be successful for myself and for my family, then it takes the pressure off him having to work. he can just do the work that he wants to do, and he loves his work. He's
Yeah.
one of the few people that I've come across that just go, I wouldn't even do it for money. I just want to do it. I just love it. And I just don't want to deal with the money side of things. So if I can make that happen for him, obviously he'd still run a business, but it would take the pressure out. If he wanted to see somebody for free, then he could do, because he doesn't need to worry about bringing money into family. So that's probably what my main driving factor is now. Look after my family, give them the best life they can.
Yay. No, that's a good thing to want to do, I think. Yeah. If there was one lesson you've learned that you want every entrepreneur to know, what would it be?
Self-care. Look
Why?
after yourselves. I think I have learned that, or relearned that in spades over the last year, that you really have got to look after yourself and take the time out for yourself, because if you don't, you do end up just falling down that hole, and then it becomes really difficult to get back out again. I
don't think we can ever hear that too much, because we are driven and ambitious and always wanting to go for the next thing and to grow our businesses and to find the audience and to have more clients and to create the income because we want to look after our families, all these wonderful things. If we're not looking after ourselves, and I'm saying this to me as well, if we're not looking after ourselves, we don't have a business. No. And it is so important to hear it again and again. And every time I hear it, I think, oh, no, I need to hear that. You think, how many times?
Yeah. What I want to do, I haven't managed it yet, but I want to get it stuck up on my wall so that I do constantly think about it. I am making a lot of time for myself at the moment. I signed up for a Mind Valley membership a few weeks ago. It must be months ago now. And I am making sure I get up at 6 every morning, go downstairs, make myself a cup of tea, and I sit in the lounge and watch my videos and do the exercises and work through it. And it's just making that time for myself until roughly 7 o'clock when everyone else gets up. I've got that time for myself. The house is quiet and I can just do what I need to do to be constantly progressing myself, because ultimately personal growth is a form of self-care as well. So
absolutely. What's your favorite piece of business software?
Favorite piece of business software is called Notion. I know you expected me to say an accountancy product, but no, Notion is the one, because it is basically like a second brain. You can create databases in there, you can put pages up, you can link pages together, and it's basically an opportunity for you to download. As business owners, we've constantly got so many things going on in our heads. We've got the finances of our business, the marketing of our business, the actual delivery of our business. Everything is constantly going on up there. And if you're parents as well, and you've got family to think about, that's also in there. So an opportunity to download that into my second brain has probably been one of the most invaluable things I've found since being in business, because I can access that from anywhere as well, because it's all cloud-based. So
Notion. Go and Google it. Elyse, thank you so much for being so raw and real in talking about your journey to this point, literally. And thank you for being involved in the book and the podcast.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for watching. If you like what you saw, please like the video and click the subscribe button for this channel for more inspiration. If you're a businesswoman looking for that community that will support you and lift you up, come and join the Shine On You Crazy Daisy membership, offering online networking, co-working, collaboration, and monthly masterclasses to grow your knowledge. Go to thedaisychaingroup.com for more information. And for even more inspiration, please go to the link under the video and get your copy of the Shine On You Crazy Daisy series of books with inspirational and motivating stories from businesswomen around the world.